Okay, I want to start today's episode with a question. And this is a question from a colleague that is working in this world of emotional immaturity as well. So they said, "Hey, Tony, what's the difference between gray rocking and giving somebody the silent treatment?" They said that they have a client that gray rocks her husband. So when the client's husband does the same thing as the client, she calls it the silent treatment and is mad. So what's the difference? Because the husband feels there is a double standard here. She can do one thing, but when he does the very same thing, he is in trouble with her. And I think this is a very important thing to really understand the difference between gray rocking and the silent treatment, because the way that they present is going to look pretty similar, but this is a huge part of navigating the dynamics of a relationship with a narcissist or somebody that is incredibly emotionally immature. So let's talk about gray rocking. Gray rocking, it's a technique that I like to advise it for people who are dealing with narcissists or other manipulative individuals. So when you employ the gray rocking method, you essentially become very intentionally uninteresting, unresponsive, as emotionally neutral as a gray rock. I will not identify this person, but growing up, there was somebody that some of our friend group called this person. They, in essence, had the personality of a can of paint. So I often, if I could rename gray rocking, it would be paint canning. I guess gray rocking sounds better. But this tactic is used to protect yourself from the emotional manipulation and the provocations of the narcissist. Gray rocking is what leads to these fantastic, amazing popcorn moments where you're just sitting back and watching the show. You're pretty uninterested because this is now where the narcissist has to get you to react, because if you don't, then they're not going to get their supply. Now, they will still find a way in their minds to get the upper hand. So in this scenario that we're talking about, let's say that the husband has become passive aggressive. So the wife chooses not to engage or respond to his provocations. Then by doing that, she's gray rocking, and she denies him the emotional reaction that he might be seeking. So in that scenario, gray rocking is a form of self-preservation. It's used to maintain emotional distance and to avoid getting drawn into unnecessary conflicts. So this is where, when you are employing this gray rock method, then you are sitting back and you're watching the show, and here comes your popcorn moment. Grab a bite, because it's probably going to be a decent show. It may start off with anger, it may move into manipulation, it may move into tears or sadness, back to comedy, to victimhood, and all you're doing is gray rocking. It isn't, so gray rocking isn't about giving somebody the silent treatment or punishing them. It is something that is done for self-protection. Now, the silent treatment is a manipulation tactic that is often employed by narcissists and emotionally immature individuals, because the silent treatment is deliberately ignoring somebody or refusing to communicate with them or withholding attention and affection as a form of punishment. So narcissists, emotionally immature people, they use the silent treatment to gain control, to evoke a reaction. It's one of the many buttons that they are trying to press in order to get the reaction so that they can inflict this emotional pain on their target or get that control, because that's a way for the narcissist to express disapproval or disappointment or anger without having to address the issue directly, because heaven forbid that they may actually have to take ownership or accountability of something. So in this scenario, again, when the wife doesn't give the husband the emotional reaction that he's looking for by gray rocking, then he might resort to the silent treatment as a way to regain that control and then to manipulate her into feeling guilty or anxious. That is his attempt to shift the power dynamics, and it makes her feel uncertain and then eager to fix things. So the silent treatment can go from hours to days, because if that is something that's worked in the past, then the narcissist will employ that. So the main difference between the two is their intent. Gray rocking, again, self-preservation. It's a tactic that's employed to protect oneself from further harm or manipulation. So the individual using it isn't trying to control or harm the other person. They're trying to protect themselves. On the other hand, the silent treatment is employed to manipulate, control, and inflict emotional pain on the other person. So with gray rocking, the focus is inward. It's about maintaining one's emotional balance. It's about not getting drawn into the conflict. It's about sitting back, grabbing a bite of popcorn, hopefully with extra butter, and watching the show. So with the silent treatment, the focus is outward, because it's about affecting the other person's emotions and their behaviors. And then the duration, if you look at it that way, gray rocking tends to be situational and it's short-termed. It's a tool. It's used in specific instances where that individual feels the need to protect themselves. They've been in this rodeo many times, and they're about to get tossed off the bull. I'm not a big rodeo guy, but I think that probably makes sense. So they need to protect themselves. So the silent treatment then, that can be prolonged. That can sometimes, again, it can last days, weeks, even longer. And that causes prolonged emotional distress to the recipient, to the pathologically kind, to the nice person, because in the past, that button has worked. That's why the narcissist is going to it. So having an idea of these tactics and their implications, it's really critical for anybody that is navigating a relationship with a narcissist or somebody that's emotionally immature, because it helps you recognize more of these manipulative behaviors, and it gives you tools that you can employ and use as a way to start to grow even within a relationship like that.